Hello everybody and welcome to the Import-Export Hub channel. Your not so boring host Bogdan here. I hope that everybody is doing great, and without prolonging too much this intro, let's jump into today's topic, in which I will cover the imports and the exports for dates. I will show you also who are the main exporters and importers. Then I will focus a little bit on a couple of them in order to see who are their trading partners. I will also cover the US major import gateways, and I will finish with a couple of data statistics coming from FAOstat in order to see together who are the main growers in terms of the area harvested, production and yield, together with some interesting facts, information about the tariffs that the importers are facing when they bring dates into the European Union. And prepare yourself, guys. I promise that this is going to be a very boring video. So without further ado, let's take a look at the largest exporters in the world. And as you can see here, 2021 is the last year for which I have the data. And overall, we have almost $2.3 billion worth of exports, with Saudi Arabia here, Israel and Iran as the main exporters, followed by other important ones like, I don't know, Tunisia, the United Arab Emirates, Algeria or Pakistan. As you can see here, these top 10 exporters have a cumulative share of roughly 83% in terms of total exports, relative to the value, of course, and except the Netherlands here, who is a trading hub, so not a grower, the rest of them are also grower besides exporters. Relative to the value trend, well, it seems that it reached a plateau from 2019 onwards. 2020 wasn't a bad year in terms of exports, if you ask me, given the fact that basically the whole world was in full pandemic mode. For 2021, we have here almost 8% year-on-year positive change, which translates into $169 million more exports than in 2020, so the previous year, even though we see here that Tunisia, the United Arab Emirates, and even Pakistan registered negative figures. But on the other hand, there were good export figures coming from Saudi Arabia and Israel, both having increased exports above the $60 million mark. Now, moving to the largest importers, well, overall for 2021, we have some $1.9 billion worth of imports overall worldwide, with India, Morocco and the United Arab Emirates basically leading the way, followed by other important ones like, I don't know, France, the United States or Malaysia, to name a couple from this top 10 list. And we have here a 4.2% year-on-year positive change, which translates into some $78.2 million, with big values coming from Morocco and the United Arab Emirates, both with figures above the $35 million mark. There are also two countries who in 2021 had negative changes, and these are France and Indonesia. The former importing with almost $2.5 million less in 2021, while the latter with some $12.4 million. And now that we've seen together who are the main exporters and importers, at least in terms of the dollar figure, let's take a look at a couple of them and see who are their main trading partners. And I will start with Saudi Arabia here for the export flow, and here we see that overall for 2021 it exported some $323 million, with the United Arab Emirates, Yemen and Kuwait as the main partners, followed by others like, I don't know, Morocco, Turkey or India, again just to name a couple from this top 10 list. Overall, we have 31% positive change year on year, almost $77 million in absolute terms, with almost all the top 10 partners registering positive changes, except Kuwait here, who had a 17.5% contraction. Moving now to another big exporters, I have here the data for Israel, the second largest exporter in the world, and immediately it strikes me when I look at the top 10 trading partners, which are almost all based in Europe and almost all non-Muslim countries. But anyways, this is another story. Overall, we see here that Israel exported some $317 million in 2021, with the Netherlands, France, and the Russian Federation as the main destinations, followed by others like, I don't know, Spain, Germany, or the United States. The trend line is moving upwards, and in 2021 Israel had some 26% positive change relative to the previous year, so 2020, with very good export performance towards France and the Netherlands, both with figures above the $20 million mark. So guys, these were the figures for Israel, and now I will move to the last country for which I will cover the exports, and we have here Tunisia. Unfortunately, on a downward trend from 2019 onwards. In 2021, Tunisia exported some $256 million, which is 2% less than in 2020. With Morocco, so basically cross-border trade, Germany and Malaysia as the main partners, followed by others like, I don't know, Italy, Indonesia, or Spain, again, to name just a couple. Relative to the year-on-year changes, we see negative figures, so contractions towards France, Indonesia, Spain, the United States, and the Netherlands. But fortunately for them, these negative changes were absorbed, so to say, a little by strong export performance towards Morocco and Malaysia. Moving on with the video, guys, I will now cover three big importers: India, France, and the United States. I will be very quick, I promise, and I will start with India here, who in 2021 imported some $240 million worth of dates, with Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, and Iran as the main partners, followed by other important ones like, I don't know, Saudi Arabia, Oman, or Algeria, to name a couple from this top 10 list. And basically, as you can see here, these are also the main ones. Relative to the year-on-year changes, India imported with almost 7% more than the previous year, so 2020, which translates into some $15.4 million more in absolute terms, with the biggest absolute positive change happening with Iraq, some $16.3 million. While on the other side of the spectrum, let's cover this also, the largest contraction, again in absolute terms, happened in relation with Iran, some $4.5 million fewer exports towards India. Moving now to another big importer, guys, we have here France. And we don't have the same figures as India, but still important. And we have for 2021 some $113.7 million worth of imports, with Algeria, Tunisia, and Israel as the main partners, followed by Jordan, Turkey, or Iran, again, to name a couple from this top 10 list. In terms of year-on-year changes, we have 2% contraction, some $2.5 million in absolute terms, with Israel having the biggest absolute positive change, while Tunisia had the biggest absolute negative change, close to $5.5 million. And now, guys, with France being also covered, I will now move to the last big importer, if you want, that I want to cover, the United States. And here, as you can see, we have some $84.2 million worth of imports for 2021, 27% more in relative terms, with Mexico, Israel, and Tunisia as the main partners, followed by others like, I don't know, Algeria, Pakistan, or Turkey, to name a couple. As I've just said to you, we have a 27% positive change year on year, which translates to some $18 million if I were to put a dollar value, with Mexico having the biggest absolute positive change, while on the other side of the spectrum, we have almost $3 million contraction in relation with Tunisia, which unfortunately it's on a downwards trend, and we see that in 2021 the exports towards the United States are just a third from those of 2018. And it seems that Tunisia's western neighbor, so Algeria, follows a similar downward trend. So these are the main partners for the United States, and now I would like to briefly show you also the US major import gateways, at least the top 5 ones, and basically it follows the path of least resistance, so to say, and we have here New York for the imports coming from North Africa, Turkey, or Israel, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, for the Asian trade, while Nogales here, I don't think it's Tucson, it's Nogales, for the Mexican trade. So that's about the imports and the major gateways for the United States. And now, guys, I would like to cover some data coming from FAO-Stat regarding harvested area production yield. I've filtered this list, and I've chosen the countries who are harvesting more than 5,000 hectares. It's filtered according to production, from the largest to the smallest production capacity. I've plotted also a small chart here. And basically, Egypt is leading the way with some $1.7 million tons in terms of production. Saudi Arabia comes second with 1.5 million tons, while Iran is the third largest producer with almost 1.3 million tons. In pale red here, I've highlighted the top 5 countries relative to the harvested area production yield. And for yield here, Turkey and Kuwait are not in this table, as their harvested area is less than 5,000 hectares, roughly in the 3,500 hectares range for both of them, if you really want to know it. But Kuwait, for example, has the second biggest yield, some 30,000 kilograms per hectare, while Turkey sits third, again in terms of yield, with some 17,000 kilograms per hectare. Unfortunately, guys, I don't have the data for the previous years in order to see in dynamics how the variables developed. For me, at least, it would have been really interesting to see how Israel managed this growth. So I will move now to my last sheet from this Excel file, in which I have some info for those of you wanting to export towards the European Union, or those of you who want to import into the European Union. I promise I will be very quick, and basically the idea is that when importing dates into the European Union, the third country duty, so erga omnes, is at 7.7% with a tariff preference of 0% for Israel and Pakistan. But given the fact that supply chain disruptions affected a lot of industries here in the European Union, the EU proposed an autonomous suspension under end use for all these countries, and I think that others benefit also. So basically we're speaking about 0% duty, with the condition of using these dates in the manufacturing of products of drinks or food industries, so not for packaging and then retailing. The date for mandatory review is set for 31st of December 2023, so next year. So you still have time to benefit from this zero rate duty when importing into the European Union or exporting to the European Union. And guys, with this being said, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope I've managed to deliver some useful information. Don't forget to hit whatever button you like below this video. And as usual, until next time, keep your business safe. Thanks.